On this week's episode of the Jesse T Show, your favorite neighborhood realtor, Robert Masoudpour. Robert, thanks so much for coming today.
Hey, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
Great
for
to see
having
you.
me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How are things going?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Living life.
Living life?
Pretty nice.
Anything
Yeah.
going on new for the summer? Any vacations or anything fun you've been doing?
No, just came back from the lake. Went to a lake in Alabama, Lake Smith, and it was very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, had a chance to hang out with the family and enjoy the
Decompress a little
enjoy
bit.
the lake and decompress.
From
Yeah,
the
exactly.
rigors of-
Because that lake house had no internet service, no TV, so and I still had to work because
Okay.
as an entrepreneur, as a
So maybe
business
not
owner,
so perfect. It was a little hard to navigate.
Exactly. But it made it challenging and fun. So,
Okay.
and everything worked out for the best.
So this show is all about you. We want to tell the world about Robert Masoudpour, what you do and your career and how you've built success. So
Excellent.
if you could tell everybody about your story and who you are and what you've done.
Well, I'm Robert Masoudpour. I'm a realtor. I'm also a real estate appraiser. My story, I'm a immigrant from Iran. I moved here when I was 13, right after the Iran Revolution, and came to the U.S. Resided in Washington D.C. area, and basically that's when my second half of my life started. Not knowing the English and stuff, so I had a lot a lot of challenges to overcome and get acclimated to the American lifestyle and it was really, if it wasn't for my family, it would have been very difficult. But I had my family's support, and you know how it is when you make that huge transition when you're in adolescence.
Yeah.
It wasn't always fun.
It's a tough time in general.
very tough.
Never mind being brand new to a country. So culturally speaking, and some of the differences, what were some of the biggest changes leaving Iran, coming to the U.S. at such a pinnacle time anyway? What were some of the biggest differences that you had to get used to?
Well, the language is one thing.
Sure.
Because I didn't know any English. I knew basic numbers and some alphabet, but that was about it. So that was one thing to overcome, especially going right into school when you come over here. It's kind of and at that age, making friends and stuff was kind of difficult.
Sure.
And the second thing was obviously the tumultuous time that Iran was going through and the Iranian-American relationships. So that was kind of tough to get through.
The perfect storm.
Perfect storm, exactly. Perfect storm. It was during the hostage
goodness.
crisis, so it was pretty tough. Going through day-to-day life.
So you said your family helped out a lot in that transition. What were some other things that you poured yourself into to kind of make the adjustment moving?
Well, it was one of those sink and swim things.
Sure.
So I had to learn to speak the language, and I had to learn how to, behave.
Yeah.
Culturally, exactly.
Engage.
So my brothers, both of my brothers were already here. They were here for a long time before I was, and so my brothers really helped me get acclimated and also helped me with learning the language. And I mean, I owe a lot to my brothers. They really
Lead the way, show you kind of how to do things.
Absolutely, showed me what to do right, what to do wrong, and so it was pretty cool time to go through. Learned a lot, but also it was pretty rough.
What was the choice or the reason behind DC of all places? What was there a job?
Because I have family
opportunity?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, my brothers were there, and
Yep.
I had some other extended family there. So
Okay.
absolutely.
What was it like? And you grew up in DC for a few years or more. What was it like growing up in DC?
It was great.
Yeah.
I grew up in Maryland, Potomac, Maryland, is right outside of DC. It was absolutely the most family-friendly area.
That's awesome.
Typical. I wouldn't say Norman Rockwell kind of environment, but sort of.
Sure.
Kids going out playing and having a good time, basketball, pickup balls, and tennis, and all that stuff.
Okay, so just
it was
the
very
normal,
nice.
typical
Just normal,
upbringing.
Typical upbringing.
And so
absolutely.
where did you go from DC? Did you go to school somewhere? Did you move for
So
a job?
yeah, absolutely. I went to high school in DC in Maryland, and then I went to University of Maryland.
Okay.
Terrapins.
Terrapins, yeah.
And then once I graduated school, here's exclusive for you.
Sure.
For just
we like
a
that.
show.
Just for all the
So
viewers.
I was actually a theater major.
Okay.
In
I didn't know that
school.
about you.
Absolutely, I was a theater major, and then got out of school and realized that theater was not going to pay the bills.
Gotcha.
So
you're going to have to be a starving artist for a while.
Absolutely. So I went back to school and got my marketing degree.
What was the goal of being a theater major? What did you envision before you
Honestly,
realized the real world demands of
well,
money?
you know, I've always liked acting,
Okay.
and ever since I was a kid, and when the opportunity came along, I figured this was one way of going into it.
Sure.
But as you get older, you get wiser. You realize that what's more important.
Yep.
And having a family, making money is more important. So
Real life.
and real life,
Yeah.
exactly. So I went back to school and got a bachelor's in marketing.
Okay.
And during college, I started appraising homes.
How did you get into that? That's
My
a pretty
brother,
niche market.
my
yeah.
brother's an appraiser, right?
Okay.
My brother's an appraiser in Maryland, so I started working with him.
Okay.
And that kind of paid the bills through college. And when I got my marketing degree, I got a job as a marketing director, and I moved to Atlanta.
Okay. Around what time?
This
What
was
year?
in 1997.
Okay. So
Right
almost
after,
2000.
right after Olympics, right?
Yeah. Okay. So the Olympics just happened here.
Absolutely.
For those who don't know, we had a serious, was it terrorism? Bombing went off, all that stuff?
Yeah, bombing, in
yeah.
Centennial Park,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep, so you're coming in at a time,
I came in the week after.
oh my goodness.
No, the week before it, because I think the bombing happened the second week. So I came.
What was the time like, and just the social vibe and everything going on?
It was absolutely incredible. That's one thing that attracted me to Atlanta. And that's one reason I started looking for jobs in Atlanta, was because when I came here, the people, the friendliness of the people, and seeing the mass of people
Yeah.
in downtown.
Melting pot.
Melting pot,
Yeah.
exactly. And at that time, I was in my early 20s, so it was absolutely a big party.
Probably had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Same thing for me.
absolutely.
When I moved down from Boston, I was in my early 20s and ready to take on the world, start a new career, and just learning about Atlanta and all it had to offer was amazing, and had a lot of fun.
Right, yeah. So I went back home and I said, hey, I'm moving to Atlanta.
That's awesome.
They were like, what?
So you moved down to Atlanta. You're
Right.
here now. You're a marketing director. What were you doing in marketing? Like, what was your day to day? What was your job?
I was working for a pottery manufacturer, and basically doing any kind of marketing, taking care of trade shows,
Okay.
going to trade shows, and basically selling their items, helping out with our independent salespeople,
Okay.
getting them the right path.
Some
and
channel development, some meet and greet type stuff with
Absolutely.
the events. So
Absolutely.
a lot
Being
of
a-
exposure.
being the manufacturer's rep at
Okay.
trade shows, kind of someone that could tell them what about the products and
Sure.
stuff,
Education.
and kind of educate them, exactly, and kind of sell the product. Sure.
So now you're building this career in Atlanta. You're young. You're growing up. You're building your career. What's the next step from there?
Well, next step was that I decided to leave that job and decided to go into real estate.
Okay.
I love real estate.
And having the appraiser background, you had an
Exactly.
idea of what it consisted of.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And so I got my real estate license here and have been doing it ever since.
So talk to me about. I know you've been doing it for at least a few years, about 20 or so, give or take.
16 years.
16 years. So
absolutely.
getting into really being an expert in your field. Tell me about your career in real estate in Atlanta. How has that been, and what have you built from when you started till now? And what type of clientele you work with?
Okay, well, sure. I mainly work in residential real estate.
Okay.
Homes and apartments condos and so it's basically started marketing myself when I got my license and started hitting my sphere of influence.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reaching out to your contacts.
Reaching out to my contacts.
Yeah.
And, hey, I'm a realtor now. Send me some business.
Sure.
And many of them right off the bat, they came through and started hiring me, and it was a great time. And then we hit the real estate downturn in 2007, 2008, which wasn't fun.
Right. How did you weather that storm?
Well,
that was huge.
Absolutely, and I was fortunate that I had my appraisal business.
So that was something on the side where you could manage that and
Absolutely.
have some income.
So once the real estate market went down, home sales and the appraisal business kind of picked up.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because of the foreclosures.
Sure.
And so I started contracting with Fannie Mae and other
lenders,
secondary home mortgage lenders, and started doing appraisals for them.
Okay.
And it was still tough because I had my twin daughters that were still young.
Okay.
And then I had my third child.
So
it was
throwing caution to the wind, building a family, a career.
Absolutely. So it was still pretty tough, pretty nerve wracking, but thankfully we made it through and weathered the storm, and were able to.
Been better for it. And so, what were some of the speed bumps, hurdles on the realtor side that you went through for the couple of years, I guess, after the rebuilding of the economy? Were you still facing? Was it hard to sell homes? Was it hard to market homes? Like, what were some of the speed bumps you incurred after the market went down? But then, how did you get through those, and how did you come out on the other side?
They were scared still.
Yeah.
Because a lot of fear because they had many of them had purchased homes in the early 2000s, and then only to find out that their homes weren't worth as much.
So they had these huge notes that they owed on these mortgage payments, and the valuation of their home 10 years before the market crashed was way above what the market was dictating now. So a lot of people went into foreclosure. A lot of people had to hold on and ride the wave. So
unfortunately, a lot of people had to. They couldn't sell because they were upside down in their loans. So getting the people back into the market and making them trust the market to purchase home was kind of, I think, challenging.
What was your method, like, or how did you educate your clients to get over that fear?
Well, you show the people that the economy is cyclical, right? It goes up, goes down, and as long as they make the right choices, and not get over their head when they're purchasing a home, if they stay within their means, then they should be okay.
So really being a consultant with your expertise in the industry and educating your clients on averting any potential pitfalls and making wise decisions, you are that sounding board for them.
Absolutely. So education is very important, and you educate the people, especially first-time home buyers, right? Because all they see is history, and they historically saw that within the past 6 years, this is in early 2010, 11, 12, that many of their relatives, lost a lot of money in their homes.
For sure.
And so educating them that this is okay. It's not going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
And as long as you stay within your means and know what your limitations are financially. Yeah. And then you should be okay.
Don't get that $400,000 house when maybe a $200,000 house is a better fit for right now.
Exactly.
And you can afford it, and it doesn't hurt you to have that note.
And just like life, you just climb the ladder, and you don't want to go and be a first-time home buyer and buy a $700,000 house just because somebody tells you can afford it, right?
And I was very much in the same vein of educating clients, and we are in the same industry in the sense of understanding the markets and history, right? As a real estate advisor and as a financial advisor, we understand where we came from and how the markets perform over time, and generally over time they correct and they come back up.
Absolutely.
And I think that knowing that is one thing, but then also one of my mentors calls it being a news reporter versus a weatherman or a weather lady, if that's even a term, right? But being a weather person, where the news reporter is reporting on past events, aka the market cycles before, but that weather person is looking forward in the future and trying to protect against the storm, so to speak. And so having the insight of what's come before, but knowing how to protect against the future, it sounds like you do a lot of the same
Absolutely,
thing.
Absolutely, yeah. So I love educating people because I like to use my what I've learned in the past to kind of lead people to make the right decisions, especially when they make one of the most expensive purchases.
One of the biggest ones.
Yeah,
and in my industry, a lot of wealth is transferred through real estate.
Right.
In the world, most wealth is transferred through a parent that passes away and someone inherits a home, or an estate where someone's getting some sort of property, or a form of some sort of If they sell the house, they get some sort of money from the house. A lot of real estate makes a huge impact on the world.
Absolutely.
So now, today, in building the business you've built for the past 16 years, what are some of the goals that you're chasing now for the business?
Obviously, try to grow as much as I can.
Okay.
I'm working on getting my brokerage license.
Okay. What will that do for your business?
I think it would give me a little bit more support when I approach new clients. That hey, I'm a broker,
Yep.
and I've been through this. I've learned some stuff that I'm hoping to pass on to you, and also I love to learn, and I'm always learning.
Yep. You have to in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it would teach me some new stuff
Yep.
and new things that I can use to serve my clients better.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What-
And it's a goal. I always like to make myself better.
Of course.
So,
Because if you stop learning, you stop growing, and you
Absolutely.
get passed up, and you want to stay
Absolutely.
ahead of the curve and help your clients to the best of your ability.
Absolutely.
And you do that through education.
Right.
As far as the business goes, what is something that you've had to overcome recently, something that maybe didn't go your way, another hurdle, and how did you overcome that?
I feel like every day.
Every day, sure, it's a challenge every day.
Absolutely, have to overcome something. But in this business, things are thrown at you, as I said, every day. And you try to overcome it by using your past experience and learning new stuff. And you learn from your challenges, right?
Sure.
So that's what I try to do. I try to use my past experiences and to kind of ride the wave and make the day better.
Sure. And is there anything you're looking to accomplish before the end of 2018 within the business? Is that basically just the broker's license? Are you going to try to get that before the end of the year? Is there anything else you're working on?
Yeah, I'm actually working on starting a podcast.
Okay, great.
Absolutely,
Nice.
real estate podcast. I've been talking to a couple of my colleagues in works business and trying to get a real estate podcast going to kind of talk about real estate and experiences and kind of educate.
I was just going to say it's
people.
probably an educational format. Where,
Absolutely.
and who would be your market? Are you going to teach other real estate agents?
No,
or are you going to go to the client?
It would be clients.
Okay.
It'll be not clients, but
Yeah.
people who want to get into the real estate, buy homes, and
Sure.
mainly, I think our focus, at least at the beginning, is first-time home buyers.
Okay.
We're trying to, it's scary as a first-time home buyer to buy this, spend all this money and buy this thing that
Sure.
you don't have experience with. And so my goal is to be able to make the experience better,
Yep.
Educate them, and kind of show them it's not that scary as long as you take the right steps to get to it.
Yep.
So it's like climbing a mountain, right?
Sure. Getting up's only halfway, so you have to come back down safe.
Exactly. But you look at a mountain and go, oh my gosh, how am I going to climb this?
Yeah.
But through education and having the right guidance and
Training, education,
Absolutely.
and it's one step at a time.
Sure.
And it's just being sure of what you're doing and getting into it in the education piece. You can't say enough about it. And in most industries, if you can educate someone, that perceived fear that they think that they have, usually goes away when they understand.
Absolutely,
how the process
because it's
works.
fear of the unknown,
Yeah.
right? And as long as once you start knowing what's ahead of you, opening that door and seeing what's on the other side, then you're not going to be afraid of dark anymore, and you're going to be
You
able
can walk
to
with confidence.
walk with confidence. exactly.
So looking at the grand scheme of your business, what would you like the business to evolve to? Like, what's the ideal business look like for you in the next few years for Robert Masoudpour? And the name of the company is
Masoudpour Real Estate.
Masoudpour Real Estate. What's the evolution ideally going to be one day? What do you see this organization looking like?
I like to I don't want to say that I like to be a real estate conglomerate.
Okay.
But I like to get to a place where I'm able to kind of help people,
Sure.
and be able to be comfortable enough for people to come and talk to me and ask me questions about their home buying and home selling ideas, and I don't know, just want to get to a place where I have more time to spend my family and be comfortable enough to do that.
Sure.
I guess.
Most business people and entrepreneurs want to be able to build that freedom through the hard work, and through
Absolutely.
the fruits of their labor, and
Absolutely.
a lot of it comes down to family time or travel, and so I think you're working towards the right thing.
Yeah, running two businesses, it takes time out of the family, and you and my challenge is that when I work from home mostly,
Yep.
so leaving the business and going to the family time is kind of, it's a double-edged sword.
It's hard to juggle
right?
that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to get to a place where I'm comfortable leaving the business and concentrating, focusing on family, and separating the
Sure.
two things.
Let one take care of the other.
Absolutely.
So we're going to jump into the rapid fire portion, and this is kind of where we get to know a little bit more about you and things that have kind of helped you and things you've experienced. So the first question is, this can be someone that you know directly or indirectly, but a role model or mentor. Who are they, and how have they helped you in your career?
Well, I wouldn't say I have a specific role model or mentor. As I said, I always like to. I find any channel that I can find to learn more
Okay.
about my business and about how to go about it the right way. I think the person that's most impacted me, as I said, is my brothers.
Your brothers have really
Absolutely.
made that mark. Okay.
They've paved the way for me to get to where I am, and so I would. I regard them very highly.
That's great.
My family. But yeah, so I listen to a lot of podcasts.
What are some of the podcasts you're into?
So I try to listen to a lot of real estate podcasts, Real Estate Uncensored. Marino is another good one. He gives out a lot of good insights. I also, I listen to How I Built This. I don't know if you listen to that.
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's a great podcast by Guy Ross, and he interviews entrepreneurs and how they became successful in their business.
Okay. Similar to what we're doing here, folks.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, watch Jesse T's show.
That's
so
right.
That's
right. Thanks for the plug. I appreciate
so
that.
yeah, so I'm always every day I try to find different avenues to better myself and get more.
It goes along with the theme that you've been talking about, education, growing,
Absolutely.
so that you can lead and teach others
Absolutely.
by your learning efforts, which is great. I believe in that 100%. Craziest thing that you ever did or that has ever happened to you?
Well, the craziest thing is that I went skydiving.
Okay. Recently, or
No,
was it a while back?
before the kids were born. Yeah, I want to go back. I want to do it for my big birthday.
Sure.
But I was vetoed by my.
So the big birthday is 30?
Sure, let's say that.
So is the birthday coming up soon?
No, I just had it.
Okay. Well, happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday to me. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't know. But
Yeah,
that's what I'm
skydiving
at.
was fun.
Okay.
I definitely recommend it to people.
So skydiving,
Absolutely.
we had a guest on a few episodes ago that had to do it for their job. They were in the military.
Oh,
and
wow,
they
yeah.
said that they would never do it again because they've already had enough. So, but
Right.
you would want to
Well,
do it again.
yeah, I've only done it once,
Okay.
so
You want to try it at least one more time?
absolutely. Yeah.
Would you do it locally in Atlanta, or is there a place
Yes.
you would go? Okay.
Yeah, there are a few skydiving places around Atlanta. One is in Rome, which I don't know if they're around anymore, but Atlanta skydiving
Okay.
is a good one. So
I teeter with that sometimes. When I was younger, I was like, it's just cliche. Everybody wants to go skydiving, but now I'm kind of like, I
it's
don't know,
it
maybe.
becomes more more difficult decision when you have family, when you have kids.
Responsibilities to leave behind.
Yeah,
To make sure the life insurance is in check.
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe they would come. I don't know. And then, as far as favorite restaurant or food, it could be locally or it could be international.
So being Persian,
Yeah.
Iranian, I love Persian food.
Okay.
But I don't eat it enough.
Okay.
But I have to put a plug in for my wife. My
Sure.
wife is a great Italian cook.
Okay.
So, and I love Italian food. And,
What's your favorite dish
Her
that she makes?
lasagna is
Lasagna, ooh.
absolutely beyond this world.
Okay. Does she do anything special, or is it just loaded with the goodies?
I don't know what she does. I don't know what she does, but I tell you that lasagna
really
is
good.
really good. And I'm trying to lose some weight now. So she made her lasagna the other night, and and I only had one piece. It just killed me.
Well, good for you for staying on track.
Absolutely.
That's easy to get on.
Because usually I have like 3 or 4 helpings.
Yeah, for sure. Lasagna. Oh, that's comfort food.
Really
That's some of the
good.
best.
Yeah.
As far as anything that you're currently reading, I know you talked about podcasts you're listening to. So is there any other things that you're reading outside of podcasts or listening to for educational purposes?
Unfortunately, with my schedule, I don't have much time to read.
Sure.
Books. I mean, I read here and there, but nothing religiously. So
just the podcasts that really.
So that's why I listen to podcasts and webcasts, because I drive a lot,
Yep.
and so that allows me the time to listen to those.
So that's a good tip. We're going to start calling this the Tedisco Toolbox. I think we could probably put that in there. So when are you listening? You're in between appointments, or
in between appointments, or if I'm in the office and I have a lot of desk time, I kind of put it on the computer and I listen to it.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Any free time, not free time, but any downtime that I have, if I'm not talking to a client or if I'm not in a meeting or something,
learning, growing.
Yeah, absolutely. I listen to the podcast or webcast.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
A time where you learned from a client mishap or a mistake in your business that's changed the way for the better that you do business?
Well, the very first transaction I did back in the olden days, I was a dual agent. That means I represented the buyer and the seller.
Okay.
And actually, I think it was the first deal I had, which was a referral, and that was very challenging. Especially being new in the business, it was probably one of the most challenging things I've done, is to balance the seller's need and the buyer's wants.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot from that transaction.
What were some of the things that you learned that you pulled from that?
Well, one major thing that I learned was to keep calm. Okay. And
it's important.
and not let it get personal.
Okay.
And unfortunately that's what I did during that transaction. I let it get a little too personal, and I think that kind of hurt me.
For sure.
And I'm
stressful.
It's very stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one thing I learned is that it's business.
Yep.
And you have to do your best to kind of don't let it affect you or your family.
Try to keep it outside of becoming personal.
Absolutely, yes. Advise and let the chips fall where they may.
Got it.
Absolutely.
So it's helped you for the better, that learning.
Absolutely.
Got it. And then current hobby, I know you don't have a lot of time, but current hobby or passion project you're working on?
No passion project, but I play tennis.
Okay.
So I love doing that.
Competitively in some sort of league, or?
I play in Alta, and I play in.
Can you let the people know what Alta stands for?
Alta is Atlanta Lawn and Tennis Association.
Okay. And what is that?
Which is very popular in Atlanta.
Okay.
So you play on Saturdays or Sundays, and usually in a neighborhood format. So
you get to see different locations.
Absolutely. So our neighborhood has a team, and we go to different neighborhoods and play against different neighborhoods.
Is your team good?
We're getting better. We're competitive. We're getting better. Absolutely,
Okay.
Absolutely. Actually, our team, I'm very proud of them because a few of our players up until 3 years ago was the first time to play tennis.
Really?
And now to watch them play is absolutely amazing because they're so much better and they're so competitive now.
You get to see the growth of
exactly,
skills.
Exactly. Unfortunately, I've regressed.
You're kind of meet him in the middle.
Yeah, so it's kind of, but it is what it is.
So do you have a team or a theme for your team, or is it just local neighborhood,
We are the
team name?
We are the fourth setters.
The fourth setters?
Absolutely. So we drink.
Okay.
Usually Alta is 3 sets.
Okay.
Or best of 3 sets. So the fourth set is when you just go in the pavilion and start
wind
drinking,
down and
exactly.
the workout.
Yeah, and lick your wounds.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's really fun. I love tennis. I love the camaraderie and the challenge, and I love hanging out with people.
Sure.
I love people, and I love the hanging out with neighbors. And
you get to meet interesting people, new
Absolutely.
people, connectors maybe for your business, potentially. Maybe that might not be the primary reason, but by default you're meeting great people.
Absolutely,
doing great
absolutely,
things.
yeah, absolutely. I'll pass some cards around.
Sure.
And make sure I wear my real estate T-shirt.
little promoting.
So, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's really fun.
Is there a tournament or like a championship at the end of every season?
Right. So yeah, absolutely. So you go through once you finish your season, you go through the city finals, and then hopefully you'll get to go. Actually in Alta, I think city finals is the ultimate you can go.
Okay.
But I think I know in USTA you go further.
Now with Alta, is that something where you have some people that are like super skilled, like prior semi-pro or pro people, or is it just more of like the neighborhood people that love it and have the passion?
Well, Alta has different levels of skill.
Yeah.
So I think it's A, B, C. I think C is the last one.
Okay.
So yeah, there are some instances where some better people go into the.
But for the most part,
for
you're
the most
not going to
part,
find someone.
no.
Yeah.
For the most part, you try to play against evenly.
It keeps it fun and
it does.
Good spirited versus if you go against a team of pros,
right.
You feel like you don't have a chance.
On both sides, right? If you're a novice, you don't want to play against a seasoned player, and as a pro, it'd be boring to play against a novice. So
it's good they keep that dynamic.
Alta does a good job of keeping things even and keeping you with your peers.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Now,
really nice.
just overall picture for your life. How do you want to be remembered? What legacy would you like to be remembered by?
That's a good question. I gave this some thought. I've been thinking about it. I think about it every day actually. So I want to be remembered as someone who is giving.
Sure.
So I love to help people.
Yep. Servant's heart kind of thing.
I'm sorry.
Servant's heart.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I try to. That's why I love working with first-time home buyers because they want your help, right? And I love helping people. I love to take their hands and take them through the process. It doesn't matter if it's real estate or life. If somebody wants my time to give whatever wisdom I have, then I would love to sit with them and do that.
Sure.
Because I believe that it takes one person to grow another person.
Yep.
Give
back what was given to you and
absolutely.
Potentially leave the world a better place.
Absolutely, yeah. So
awesome.
That's why I like to learn and be able to give back to the people what I've learned.
Then more people like you in the world will be a better place. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So
this is your time to connect with the folks, and if there's anything you're working on, if you want to plug anything, if you want to talk about that, and then also how do we get in contact with Robert Masoudpour?
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I'm as I said, I'm a realtor, and I service the Cobb County, Paulding County, Sheridan County area. You want to get hold of me, Masoudpour.com or pathtosold.com. And my phone number is 404-424-4747. Give me a call. I'm here to help you out. You have any questions, I'll be happy to share my knowledge with you. Thank you.
Robert, thanks so much. You're amazing.
You're the man. I appreciate you.
He's the amazing Robert Masoudpour. I'm Jesse Tedesco. We'll see you next week on next week's show. Thanks so much.